Did you know that a single leaking faucet can waste thousands of liters of water every month? Most people rush out to buy a new one as soon as it starts leaking, but the truth is you can fix it at home in just a few minutes without spending a single dollar. In this video, I and Appos LL show you a simple repair method that anyone can do. Watch until the end and save yourself from wasting money. At first glance, many people would assume that this part is completely damaged and needs to be replaced. But in reality, the repair is much simpler than you might think. With just a few common tools, and by following the correct steps, you can easily fix it yourself at home, saving both time and the cost of buying new replacement parts. Now, I and Appos LL go through each step slowly, so everyone can follow along and do it with confidence. The first and most important step is to shut off the water supply to ensure safety and prevent any water from leaking during the repair. Next, I use a wrench to remove the faulty part from its position. Once it and Appos is removed, I carefully take apart each individual component inside. These steps are not difficult at all. Just pay close attention, and anyone can do it. Then, I secure the part firmly in a bench vise to keep it stable, making the repair both safer and more accurate. At this stage, I use a blowtorch to heat the seized threaded section. The heat allows the metal to expand, helping break loose any mineral deposits or rust that have built up over time. After heating it for a short while, I use the wrench again to loosen the threads. Watch closely. After just a few simple turns, the part that seemed completely stuck begins to come apart with very little effort. This is a practical trick that many professional plumbers use every day, but it and Appos is rarely shared with the public. After taking every part apart, I began carefully inspecting each component one by one. At first glance, everything seemed to be in good condition. However, experience has taught me that even the smallest damaged part can cause the entire system to malfunction. And just as I expected, after a few minutes of careful inspection, I found the real culprit. It was a rubber gasket that had torn. The edge had become deformed and could no longer create a proper seal. This tiny part was the reason water had been leaking continuously, even though the problem was almost impossible to notice from the outside. Instead of rushing to buy the exact same replacement gasket, I decided to look for a different one with a similar size and thickness. After comparing a few options, I finally found one that I felt was a perfect fit. The material is slightly softer and much more flexible, which means it should fit tightly against the surface and provide a better seal to prevent leaks. As soon as I held it in my hand, I was really pleased with my choice because it felt more durable and better made than the original gasket. After selecting the correct rubber gasket, I began reassembling each part in the exact reverse order of disassembly. Although this step may seem simple, it plays a crucial role in determining whether the device will function properly. I carefully placed every component back into its correct position and tightened each connection just enough to avoid damaging the new gasket. Every movement was slow and precise because even the smallest mistake during reassembly could cause the leak to continue or prevent the device from working as intended. Once everything was fully reassembled, it looked almost identical to before from the outside. However, inside, the most important component had been replaced, and the device was now ready to operate properly once again. Although all of the internal components were reassembled in their correct positions, I still felt that the connections were not as secure as they should be when I checked them by hand. Even a slight amount of looseness could lead to leaks or cause the device to fail after a period of use. Instead of rushing to finish the assembly, I placed the entire unit into a bench vise to hold it firmly in place. Then, using a wrench, I carefully tightened each connection with just the right amount of force, enough to create a proper seal while avoiding damage to the threads or deformation of the internal parts. This is a step that many people tend to overlook, yet it plays a crucial role in determining the overall durability and reliability of the device. Once everything was securely tightened and thoroughly inspected, I continued assembling the remaining parts in their original order. Finally, I performed one last inspection, checking both the tightness of every connection and the overall operation of the device. At this point, everything had come together exactly as expected. The repair is finally complete, and now it's time for the most important moment, testing the result. I carefully brought the unit back to its original position and wrapped PTFE thread seal tape around the threaded connection to ensure a perfect, leak-free seal before reinstalling the faucet. Every step was done with great care because even the smallest mistake could ruin all the work that had been done. Once everything was in place, I slowly turned on the water supply and watched closely. What a fantastic result! There wasn't a single leak, and the water flowed smoothly and strongly, just like it was brand new. This repair method worked even better than I expected, saving money while restoring the faucet to perfect working condition. If you and VE watched all the way to the end, thank you so much for your support. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you think.